So as an architect, I must admit, that's the wrong slide. My first view of a greenfield site is bittersweet. I can actually feel the beautiful smell of the earth, I can feel the sun, I can feel gentle breezes, and I know that all of this is going to be replaced. It's going to be temporarily ravaged by materials, machinery, and ultimately man. And when your site is in a crowded Indian city, you also know that it's going to be replaced by some fairly nameless, faceless, conditioned boxes, fairly devoid of all that greenery and nature and sustainability and gentleness. It's almost embarrassing whenever I say I'm an architect and I'm asked, and you guys build this. And you know, as architects, we kind of recoil and we say, you know, no, cities are just really crowded. The builder wants every square inch. The client wants Italian marble. The client wants air-conditioned spaces. But, you know, we can give you maybe a good party hat. So at SJK Architects, the firm that I founded many long years ago, we have an agenda. And we've really been building across the corners of the country, rural and urban. And our agenda is to build respectfully towards the microclimate, towards the surroundings. We really aim to make friends with the wind and the sun and local histories. One of the things that we really attempt to do, for instance, when we build in a coastal area like Alibag, we like to build with large overhangs. We like to ensure that the gentle breezes come through. Each kind of climatic type has a very different expression. And then when we build in the inner cities of India, in the central plains, again, the climatic type is very different because it's hot and it's dry. And as in this school in Warangal, we created long linear streets which actually become the courtyards. So the north light is used for the classrooms and the south faces are shaded streets that actually the kids spill out onto in order to learn and to play. We've also worked a lot on sustainability by using these methods. This really is a factory in Karur in Tamil Nadu, and we've used the courtyard, which really brings in, it allows warm air to rise and it brings cool air in. And this courtyard, along with the idea of insulation, where we've used hollow clay blocks for insulation on the roof to keep the entire thermal mass low, really allows us to create highly sustainable buildings. We really enjoy the culture that we work in and we listen to local histories. This, for instance, is a building it's a hotel in Tirupati. The worship of Lord Vishnu is at the core of Tirupati, and what we did is worked with the ideas of the 10 avatars of Vishnu to create this rather contemporary building and using all the local mythologies, etc. But at the core of everything that we're trying to do is the idea that everything we build must be humane. And we realize that there are three things that people want in the environments that they live in. They want a connection to nature, they want a connection to people, and they want a connection to their own souls. And this is really what we attempt to bring in every building we build. So this is a little project for a workspace in Indira Nagar. It's a crowded neighborhood. Several of you may know of Indira Nagar. It's a small little site with very little space, and our budget was very low. We had FSI regulations, every constraint possible, and still we were determined to create a highly humane building. Our clients, unfortunately, were a great starting point. They were Nirvana Films. They've done some great ad films across the country. They've created the Vodafone Zuzus that most of you may heard or know about, the fantastic Incredible India campaign. They do some very humane films, and they also work a lot with beautiful qualities of light. One of our starting points was, again, the Indian courtyard, and despite the scale of the site, we were keen to bring in the Indian courtyard, which would help with light, with wind, and with interactions. So on this tiny little site, 15 meters by 19 meters, what we really did was bring the staircase right into the center of the project. And the staircase actually became our courtyard, and the rest of the workspaces kind of wrapped around this staircase. The staircase brings in the light, the staircase brings in winds, and here you see how the staircase actually has a huge skylight over it, flooding the entire building with light. It also brings in winds from both sides, and it has these little benches on which people can sit. There's a lot of interaction, and all the workspaces look onto and observe the building and participate through this staircase. We also wanted the skin to be able to bring in light and air. And we've done that really, but the walls have become glass. We've overturned things a little bit. The walls are glass and the windows are solid. And these solid windows, like the sails of a boat, they open up and they bring wind in through various directions. And on that north side, we had barely 5 feet away was a neighbor. And we still wanted light and air. So what we did was created this 16-foot high jali made out of wood and acrylic that opens entirely with the movement of one rod. This building actually uses absolutely no electricity throughout the day. Imagine a city like Bangalore, and if you can reduce 90% of the demand for electricity simply through design. We also wanted that lovely, unbearable feeling of lightness. We wanted to imagine we were in the trees, in the air, and for that we needed a very light structural system. You know, we really wanted very few columns and absolutely no beams. So we brought in dear Mr. Shivanand, and literally our structural engineer was held at gunpoint. And he balanced this building on a central wall and very light columns on the edges. This building was also built on a very, very minimal budget. We also wanted to use the least resources possible. So there are no false ceilings, no second skins, no paneling. It's a very honest, simple building, cement floors. And we had an open conference room, and here is the lunchroom, again, totally open to the elements. So urbanism in so many ways has forced us to live and work in very constrained, dehumanizing boxes. We can combat this with various things. We can advocate for better development control rules, safer cities, you know, all kinds of methods, but there is the power to the individual project. Design does have the power to redeem our souls, help us create better work environments, and eventually better cities. This project really won us several accolades, including the World Architecture Festival Award and several awards for sustainable buildings, et cetera, But I must admit that our best accolade really came from a testimony from the client in the form.
We mostly sleep or take a break. We eat a lot or try to walk the dogs. But you just can't blame us, our office is such. We're here to work and sometimes we do. We play FIFA or race a car. But you just can't blame us, our office is such. Our days start at 12 and nights never end. With the wind so soothing and the place so pleasing, you just can't blame us, our office is such.
We are Nirvana Films, and we love our new office. Pure production bliss, now in a new outfit.